Hi everyone. Welcome to English Stories US, your favorite place on YouTube to learn English in a fun and easy way. I'm here to help you get better at English through stories, shadowing, and useful tips you can use every day. Today, let's talk about something very important: learning English the right way. It can be a fun and exciting journey if you follow a few simple steps. Let's get started. I want to begin with a short story. When I was a child, I didn't speak English. I was nervous and didn't know what to do. Then one day, I began listening to English stories daily. Bit by bit, I started to understand more, and I felt less scared. Listening is really helpful. When you listen often, you learn how words sound and how to use them. So try to listen to English daily. You can choose stories, music, or the news. Another important tip is to practice often. People say that the more you practice, the better you get. I spoke English every day, even when I made errors. It's okay to make mistakes. They help you grow. So don't be scared, just keep speaking. Reading is also a good way to learn. Begin with books that are short and easy to read. Books with pictures can help you understand what's happening. The more you read, the more words you will know, and your English will get stronger. Writing can help too. Try writing about simple things like your school or your pet. The more you write, the easier it gets. I wrote in a small notebook each day, and that made a big difference for me. Another idea is to watch videos in English. You can watch funny shows, cartoons, or movies. I remember watching a cartoon about a bird who liked to travel. I learned many new words just by watching that. Talking with others is also useful. Try to speak with people who know English. If you don't have someone nearby, you can talk online. I used to chat with a friend online, and we learned together. Always be patient. Learning something new doesn't happen in one day. I felt upset sometimes, but I didn't stop, and later I saw big changes. If you see a word you don't know, look it up. Use a small dictionary or a dictionary app. Try using the word in a sentence to remember it better. You can learn while playing too. I played spelling games with my cousin, and we had fun while learning. Also, try to think in English. At first it's strange, but later it feels normal. Last tip: set small goals. When you reach them, you'll feel happy and want to keep going. Keep trying, and step by step you'll get better. Chapter 2. In this chapter, we are going to focus on how to improve your English speaking skills. Speaking well is a key part of learning English because it helps you communicate your thoughts clearly. The more you practice speaking, the more natural it will become. Let's look at some simple ways to help you speak English with more confidence. The first thing to remember is not to worry about making mistakes. It is completely normal to make errors when you are learning a new language. Even native speakers make mistakes sometimes. Errors are a natural part of the learning process, so don't let them discourage you. Each mistake teaches you something new. Therefore, practice speaking English every day, even if it is only for a few minutes. A good way to get started is by talking to yourself. Yes, speaking to yourself in English is actually a useful way to practice. You can talk about your plans, describe your day, or just share your thoughts. It is a great method because you do not have to feel nervous about anyone listening. The more you talk to yourself, the better you will get at expressing ideas. Another great idea is to find a speaking partner. If you know someone who speaks English, practice talking with them. If you do not have anyone around, you can connect with people online who are also learning English. Joining a language exchange group or finding a speaking buddy will give you opportunities to use English in real conversations. Practicing with others helps you learn how to respond naturally and comfortably. Listening also plays a big role in speaking better. When you listen to other people speak, you pick up new words and phrases. You also learn how to pronounce words correctly and understand how sentences are formed. Try listening to English content daily, like podcasts, videos, or conversations. This will make you more familiar with the language and improve your speaking naturally. It's okay if you do not catch everything at first. It is normal to not understand every single word when you are just starting out. Do not give up. Keep listening and practicing. Your understanding will get stronger over time, and speaking will feel easier as you continue to practice. One helpful tip is to speak slowly. Sometimes when we try to talk too fast, it becomes confusing. Speaking slowly allows you to think clearly about what you are saying and helps others understand you better. Take your time to pronounce each word correctly. There is no need to rush. When you are just beginning, use short and simple sentences. It is better to speak clearly than to use long, complicated sentences. For example, instead of saying, "I would love to visit the museum next week with my friends if the weather is nice," you can say, "I want to go to the museum next week." Simple sentences are easier to remember and use. One more great way to practice speaking is by repeating what others say. This technique is known as shadowing. You can watch videos or listen to conversations in English and then repeat what you hear. Try to match the speaker's rhythm and pronunciation. This will help you sound more fluent and natural. When you learn a new word, try to use it in a sentence right away. This helps you remember it and practice using it correctly. Writing down new words and reviewing them often will make it easier to recall when speaking. You can also improve your speaking by describing what you see around you. Look at objects, people, or places and say something about them in English. For example, if you see a tree, you can say, "The tree is tall and green. Its leaves are moving in the wind." This helps you practice describing things using new vocabulary. Try to use English in your daily activities. If you visit a shop, try speaking to the cashier in English. When chatting with friends, include simple English phrases. The more you use English in everyday situations, the more comfortable you will feel speaking it. Building confidence while speaking is crucial. Even if you make mistakes, keep talking. Confidence makes you sound more natural and helps you improve faster. Remember that no one speaks perfectly every time, and that is completely fine. What truly matters is your effort and willingness to continue practicing. Using language apps can also be helpful. Many apps have speaking exercises and interactive games that make practice fun. Some even connect you with native speakers so you can practice real conversations and get feedback on your pronunciation and word choice. A simple but effective way to practice is by reading out loud. Choose a book, an article, or even just a few sentences and read them aloud. This helps you get used to saying English words and improves your pronunciation. To build speaking confidence, Practice talking about different topics. Start with easy subjects like your hobbies, your family, or your favorite foods. As you get better, move on to more challenging topics like news or personal opinions. The more topics you practice, the more fluent you will become. Don't forget that practice takes time. It is completely normal to feel unsure or nervous at first. The important thing is to keep practicing regularly. Every time you practice speaking, you are getting a little better. In summary, speaking English well is all about consistency and confidence. Don't be afraid to make errors. They are a valuable part of learning. Practice every day, listen to English often, and use simple sentences to start. Talk to others, join language groups, and describe things around you. The more you practice, the more natural your speaking will become. Keep pushing forward, and soon you will speak English with ease. Chapter 3. In this chapter, we will discuss how to get better at reading English. Reading is an amazing way to build your vocabulary and understand the language more clearly. The more you practice reading, the easier it will become to use English in real life. One of the best ways to start is by picking up simple books. Choose books that are easy and enjoyable to read. A good option is children's books, since they use simple words and tell interesting stories. Books that include pictures can also be really helpful, because they make the story easier to understand. Don't feel bad if you can't understand every word. Just keep moving forward. Over time, you will get better, and you can challenge yourself with books that have fewer pictures and more text. Always pick stories that catch your interest, because when you enjoy reading, it feels less like learning and more like having fun. You might want to read about nature, history, or anything else you find exciting. When you read about topics you love, it keeps you motivated to continue. Another helpful way to improve your reading is by reading out loud. Speaking the words as you read helps you work on your pronunciation and become familiar with how English sounds. Reading aloud also makes it easier to remember words. Find a quiet spot where you can read out loud without distractions. Sometimes, you may find words you don't recognize. This is completely normal, so don't stress about it. Simply pause and look up the word in a dictionary. Once you know what it means, try to make a sentence using the word. This helps you remember it more easily. If you don't have a physical dictionary, you can always use an app on your phone. A great technique is to read the same book more than once. Reading a story again helps you understand it better and memorize new words. Try repeating the same book several times until you feel comfortable with the language. At first, it's okay to skip words you don't know. Focus on understanding the main idea rather than every single word. Once you get the general meaning, you can go back and check the words you missed. This way, you won't feel stuck or frustrated. Reading is also fantastic for picking up new words. Each time you read, you will come across words that are new to you. Make it a habit to write down unfamiliar words and look them up later. Practice using them in sentences so they become a natural part of your vocabulary. Try reading a variety of texts, not just books. You can read newspapers, online articles, or magazines. Different types of reading materials will introduce you to a wide range of words and sentence structures. This will help you understand how English is used in many different contexts. It's completely okay if you don't get everything right away. When learning something new, it's normal not to catch every word. Just keep reading regularly, and little by little, things will start to make sense. The more you practice, the simpler it will become. Another useful method is to guess the meaning of a word based on its context. You don't always need to know every word. Look at the sentences around the unfamiliar word and think about what it might mean. This will allow you to keep reading without stopping too often. Reading out loud is also beneficial for your listening skills. As you read a sentence, try to imagine how it would sound when spoken. This not only helps with your reading, but also makes your listening better. When you hear how words are pronounced, it makes your speaking more natural too. It's a good idea to practice reading with someone else. You can read together with a friend or a family member. This way, you can support each other when you don't understand something. Reading together can make the experience more enjoyable, and discussing the story will help you think about the content more deeply. Try reading in different places to make it more exciting. You can read at home, in the garden, or even while traveling. Changing your reading environment can keep you interested and motivated. It also helps you practice reading in various situations. As your reading skills grow stronger, you can move on to more advanced books. Try tackling news stories or short essays. These might be a bit harder at first, but they will help you get better at understanding complex language. If you feel stuck or find something too challenging, don't worry. Just keep practicing every day, even if it's only for a few minutes. Over time, your skills will grow, and you will feel more at ease when reading English. Audiobooks can also be a great help. Listen to them while reading along with the text. This will train your ears and eyes to work together, helping you improve both your reading and listening abilities. Audiobooks are a wonderful way to hear how sentences flow and words are pronounced. Reading also teaches you how to build sentences. Pay attention to how sentences are put together and how ideas are expressed. This will make your own writing clearer and more natural. Learning how writers use words will help you develop your own style. If you want to test your understanding, try doing reading comprehension exercises. Many apps and websites offer short texts followed by questions. These can help you see how much you understood and give you ideas on how to improve. Don't forget to try different kinds of reading materials. Graphic novels and comics are great because they are fun and use simple language. They can help you learn new words and see how people talk in everyday situations. Be patient with yourself. Improving your reading takes time, so don't feel bad if it's hard at first. Stay consistent and practice a little every day. You will see progress if you keep going, even if it feels slow at times. In conclusion, reading English is an enjoyable and important skill to build. Start with simple books and read aloud when you can. Don't worry about difficult words, just look them up when needed. Read regularly and explore different types of texts. Practice guessing word meanings from context and try reading with others to share ideas. Keep going, and soon you will feel confident in your reading ability. Chapter 4: How to Write in English. Writing is a useful skill because it helps you express your thoughts and share your ideas clearly. The more you practice writing, the easier it will be to communicate in English. Let's explore some simple tips to help you become better at writing. One of the best ways to improve is to write every day. It doesn't have to be a lot, just a few sentences or a short paragraph will do. This daily practice helps you get comfortable with the language. You can start by writing about simple topics like your morning routine, your favorite meal, or a place you want to visit. As you keep writing, you will gradually become more confident and fluent. Choosing topics you like is also important. When you write about things that interest you, the process feels more enjoyable and less like a chore. For example, you might write about your favorite movie, a sport you love, or a hobby that makes you happy. This not only keeps you motivated, but also makes writing feel more natural. Another tip is to use simple sentences at the beginning. Don't worry about writing complex or long sentences right away. Start with short and clear statements. For instance, I have a small cat. And she loves to play outside. We walk in the park every evening. These sentences may seem basic, but they are a good foundation. As your skills grow, you can slowly make your sentences longer and more descriptive. It's important to check your spelling and grammar when writing. Making mistakes is okay, they are part of learning. However, reviewing your work helps you recognize your errors and learn from them. You can use simple tools like spell checkers to make sure your text is correct. Always begin each sentence with a capital letter and end it with a period. This keeps your writing neat and easy to read. Keeping a journal is a great way to practice writing every day. You can write about your thoughts, what happened during your day, or even your dreams for the future. This habit not only helps you get better at writing, but also lets you track your progress. Looking back at your old entries can show how much you have improved over time. If you encounter a word you don't know how to spell, don't be discouraged. Make your best guess and then look it up later. You can ask a friend or use a dictionary to find the correct spelling. The key is to keep writing without letting small mistakes stop you. Over time, you will learn to spell words correctly and naturally. Planning before writing can make your work more organized and clear. Think about what you want to say and list your ideas. For example, if you are writing about your favorite vacation, make notes like, where did I go? What did I do there? Why did I enjoy it? This kind of planning helps you focus on the main points and makes your writing easier to follow. Trying your hand at storytelling can also be a fun way to practice. Start by writing simple stories about everyday things, like a day at the park or a family dinner. You can also write about imaginary adventures or funny situations. Don't worry if your story is short or not perfect. The goal is to practice forming sentences and using new words. To improve your skills further, read other people's writing. Choose simple texts like children's stories, short articles, or blog posts. Notice how the sentences are structured and how ideas flow from one to the next. Imitating good writing helps you develop your own style. Writing letters or emails in English is another good exercise. Whether it's a note to a friend, a message to a family member, or a thank you letter, these activities help you practice writing in a real-world context. Plus, they teach you how to write politely and clearly, which is important in everyday communication. Getting feedback from others is valuable. If possible, ask someone to read your writing and give you suggestions. They might point out areas that need improvement or help you find better ways to express your thoughts. Don't feel bad if they find mistakes. Learning from them makes you a better writer. Learning new words is part of writing well. Whenever you discover a new word, try to use it in your sentences. This helps you remember it and expand your vocabulary. For instance, if you learn the word beautiful, write something like, "The garden was beautiful with many colorful flowers." Using new words in your writing helps reinforce them and makes your vocabulary richer. Clarity is essential in good writing. Avoid using complicated words or long sentences if they make your text hard to understand. Instead, focus on expressing your thoughts simply and clearly. Short sentences are often more effective and easier to read. Rewriting your drafts is also a useful practice. Once you finish a piece, set it aside for a while and come back to it later. You might notice areas that can be improved or sentences that could be made clearer. This process helps you develop a habit of revising your work and making it better each time. Remember that becoming a good writer doesn't happen overnight. It takes consistent effort and practice. Be patient with yourself and keep writing even if it feels challenging at times. Mistakes are just steps toward improvement, so don't let them hold you back. Try to write a little every day and gradually take on more difficult topics as you gain confidence. Whether it's a journal entry, a short story, a letter, or just a few sentences about your day, every effort counts. As long as you keep writing, your skills will keep growing. In summary, writing in English is a great way to improve your language skills. Practice regularly, keep your sentences simple, and always check your spelling and grammar. Don't hesitate to read other people's work for inspiration, and make use of new words to expand your vocabulary. Seek feedback to learn from your mistakes, and keep making progress. With dedication and practice, you will find that writing becomes more natural and enjoyable. Keep pushing yourself to write more, and soon you'll see just how much you have improved. Keep going, and never give up on your goal to write fluently in English. Chapter 5: Speaking English with Confidence. In this chapter, we'll learn how to speak English without feeling shy. Talking in English is a very important skill, and it's normal to feel nervous at the beginning. But don't worry. If you keep practicing, you will feel better and speak with more confidence. Let's look at some simple and useful ways to help you speak English with courage and comfort. First, make speaking part of your daily routine. Talking in English every day helps you become more comfortable using it. You don't need to talk for a long time. Just 5 or 10 minutes a day is enough. You can speak to yourself in the mirror, say short sentences out loud, or talk with someone who wants to practice too. The more you speak, the more confident you will become. Another helpful idea is to talk slowly and clearly. There is no need to speak fast. If you speak too quickly, you might make more mistakes or forget what to say. But when you speak slowly, you can think better and pronounce each word more clearly. It's better to be clear and correct than to be fast and confusing. Also, try listening to how other people speak English. Watch videos, listen to songs, or enjoy simple podcasts. Notice how they say words and where they pause in a sentence. This can help you learn the right sounds and how to use words correctly. When you hear English often, your speaking will also improve over time. Don't worry if you make mistakes when you speak. Everyone makes them, even people who speak English well. Mistakes are just part of learning, so try not to feel bad. Keep going, even if you are unsure about the grammar or if a word is hard to say. The more you practice, the fewer mistakes you'll make. It's a good idea to remember and practice everyday phrases. There are many short sentences that people use all the time. For example, where do you live? What do you like to do? Is this your bag? These common phrases are used in daily life, and if you learn them, you'll feel more ready to speak in different situations. Repeat them again and again until you can say them without thinking. Sometimes, you might forget a word. That's okay. Try using other words to explain what you mean. For example, if you can't remember the word bicycle, you can say the thing with two wheels that you ride. People will still understand you, and this shows that you can keep a conversation going. Talking with other people is a great way to get better at speaking. If you know someone who speaks English, ask them to talk with you. If not, you can find people online who want to practice just like you. There are many apps and websites where people help each other learn languages. Speaking with real people will help you feel more sure of yourself. It's also a good idea to speak English in different places and at different times. Try using English at the park, when shopping, or when traveling. The more situations you practice in, the more comfortable you will feel. For instance, you can practice saying what you want to buy at a market, or how to ask for a table at a cafe. Another method that works well is to copy what you hear. This is called shadowing. When you hear someone speaking English, in a video for example, try to repeat what they say right away. Say the words out loud, just like they do. This helps you learn the sound and flow of English speech. Also, try to think in English. At first, your brain might want to change words from your language into English. That can take time and make you slow. Instead, try thinking directly in English. It will help you answer faster and feel more sure when you speak. For example, instead of thinking, "What is the English word for dingo?" just think "go to bed" without translation. When you speak, use words and phrases that you already know. Don't worry if your vocabulary is small. Using what you know well is better than trying to use big words you're not sure about. You can also try adding new words slowly to your sentences. For example, if you can say "I like music," you can grow it into "I like music and I listen to it every night." Joining English-speaking clubs is also a smart way to get better. These groups are in many places, both online and in local areas. You can meet other people who are learning English and practice together. It's also a nice way to make new friends. Language learning apps can also help you a lot. Some apps give you speaking practice with short exercises or even chats with native speakers. You can learn at your speed and choose when to practice. These tools are easy to use and make learning fun. If you ever feel scared, take a deep breath and stay calm. It's very normal to be nervous when trying to speak a new language. But remember, nobody becomes good in one day. Even native speakers were once beginners. So don't let fear stop you. Speak anyway. The more you try, the less nervous you'll feel. Always remember, learning takes time. It's okay to make mistakes, and it's fine if your English isn't perfect now. What really matters is that you keep practicing. Over time, your speaking will get much better. To sum up, speaking English with confidence is all about practice. Try to talk every day. Listen to English often. Don't be afraid of errors. Use simple and common phrases. Speak clearly and slowly. Talk to people. Use apps. Join speaking groups. And most of all, believe in yourself. Be kind to yourself and patient with your progress. Day by day, step by step, you'll see how much better you can become. Keep going, and one day, you'll speak English with ease and pride. Chapter 6: How to Build Your English Vocabulary. In this chapter, we are going to discuss how to increase your English vocabulary. Knowing many words is essential because it helps you express your ideas clearly. The more words you know, the easier it becomes to speak and understand English. Let's look at some practical ways to learn new words. One of the easiest ways to build your vocabulary is to learn a few new words each day. You don't need to learn a large number of words at once. Just focus on a few daily. For example, you might choose 3 to 4 words to study each day. Start with simple ones like tree, city, or friend. Once you have learned a word, try using it in a sentence. This will help you remember it longer. Using flashcards is another effective method to memorize new words. On one side of the card, write the word, and on the other side, write its meaning or draw a picture that represents it. Go through your flashcards every day to keep the words fresh in your mind. You can create cards from words you come across in books, movies, or conversations. Reviewing them often will help you remember the words more easily. Reading is another great way to pick up new words. When you read in English, you are likely to see words that you haven't learned before. If you come across an unfamiliar word, look it up in a dictionary to find its meaning. After that, practice using the word in a sentence. You can read short stories, articles, or even social media posts to see how words are used in different contexts. Listening to English is also very helpful when learning vocabulary. You can listen to songs, podcasts, or videos in English. When you hear a word that is new to you, make a note of it. Later, find out what it means and practice saying it aloud. Regular listening practice helps you get used to how words sound and how they fit into sentences. Watching movies and TV shows in English can also help you learn new vocabulary. Try to notice how people use words when they talk. You can even repeat phrases out loud to practice pronunciation and get familiar with common expressions. Watching shows is fun, and it teaches you how words are used in real conversations. It's important to learn words as part of sentences. This means not just remembering a single word, but also knowing how to use it correctly. For example, if you learn the word excited, practice using it in a sentence like, "She was excited to start her new job." Learning words with their sentences helps you understand how they are used in everyday situations and makes it easier to recall them when speaking. Grouping words by topic is also a good idea. You can make lists of words related to specific subjects, like food, animals, or travel. When words are grouped together, they are easier to remember. Make it a habit to practice one group at a time. This way, your vocabulary will grow steadily and with better organization. Try using the new words you have learned when talking to others. Practice speaking by including the new words in your conversations. This will help reinforce what you have learned and make your sentences more interesting. Don't worry about making mistakes. Using new vocabulary is the best way to remember it. Writing is another excellent way to practice vocabulary. Try writing short paragraphs or sentences using the new words you've learned. You can write about your day, describe a place you visited, or share a story. The more you use the words in writing, the easier it will be to remember and use them when speaking. If you like using technology, vocabulary apps can be a great help. There are many apps that make learning new words fun and interactive. Some apps include quizzes, games, and flashcard activities. These apps make learning feel like a game, which helps you stay motivated. To keep learning enjoyable, try different methods like playing word games or doing puzzles. You can also challenge yourself by using new words in creative ways, like writing short poems or making up funny stories. Having fun while learning will make the process more enjoyable and help you stay consistent. It's completely normal to forget words sometimes. Don't feel bad if this happens. Just keep reviewing the words regularly. Revisiting words that you've learned before will help you store them in your long-term memory. The more often you see and use a word, the more likely you are to remember it. Learning synonyms and antonyms is also a smart strategy. Synonyms are words that have similar meanings. Example: quick and fast are synonyms. Antonyms are words that mean the opposite. Example: hot and cold are antonyms. By learning both, you expand your vocabulary while also understanding how to use words in different situations. This makes your speaking and writing richer and more varied. Never hesitate to ask someone for help if you come across a word you don't know. You can learn a lot by talking to people who are fluent in English. They can also teach you new words or correct your pronunciation. Sharing your learning experience with others is a great way to grow your vocabulary. Sometimes, it helps to connect new words with things you already know. For instance, if you learn the word delicious, think of a food you love and say, "This pizza is delicious." Connecting words with real-life situations makes them more meaningful and easier to remember. Be patient and kind to yourself while learning new words. Building vocabulary takes time and effort, and it's okay if you don't learn everything at once. Keep using the words you know while adding new ones little by little. Over time, you will see your vocabulary getting stronger. In summary, expanding your vocabulary is a key part of mastering English. Start by learning a few words every day, and use flashcards to help remember them. Read, listen, and watch English content regularly to find new words. Group words by themes, and practice speaking and writing with them. Use apps and games to keep learning fun, and don't worry about forgetting words sometimes. Just keep practicing. Finally, be patient and keep putting in the effort. The more you use the words you learn, the better you will become at remembering and using them. With practice, your vocabulary will grow, and you will feel more confident speaking and understanding English. Keep learning and keep practicing, and soon you will notice how much progress you have made. Chapter 7: How to Improve Your English Listening Skills. In this chapter, we will discuss how to get better at listening in English. Listening is a key part of learning a new language because it helps you hear how words are pronounced and how sentences are formed. The more you practice listening, the easier it will be to understand and speak English well. Let's look at some easy ways to improve your listening skills. The first tip is to listen to English every single day. Just a few minutes daily is enough to make a difference. You don't have to spend hours listening, just a few moments of practice will do. You can listen to short podcasts, your favorite songs, or even short videos in English. The more you expose yourself to the language, the better you will become at understanding it. Another way to boost your listening skills is to listen to a variety of content. Try listening to different kinds of materials like news broadcasts, interviews, or animated shows. Each type of content will introduce you to new words and different speaking styles. If, for example, news programs might use formal words and complex sentences, while cartoons often use everyday language that is simple and easy to follow. By listening to various types of English, you will train your ears to understand the language in different contexts. When you are listening, it's important to focus on the main idea instead of trying to understand every single word. Sometimes, it can be confusing if you try to catch every detail. Concentrate on grasping the overall meaning instead. If you miss a word or two, that's okay. Your brain will naturally fill in the gaps as you get more practice. Replaying the same content multiple times can also be very helpful. Listening to something more than once helps you understand it better. First, listen to catch the main point. And next, listen again to pick up on details. Finally, listen once more to notice the pronunciation and rhythm. Repeating this process will help you understand not only the content, but also how words are connected when spoken. Another great way to practice is by repeating what you hear. This technique is known as shadowing. Simply listen to a sentence and try to say it out loud right after you hear it. This practice helps with both pronunciation and listening because you are training your brain to recognize sounds and say them correctly. Shadowing is a fun way to practice both listening and speaking at the same time. When watching videos or listening to songs, using subtitles can also help. Turn on English subtitles and read them while listening. This will help you see how words look and sound together. Once you feel comfortable, try turning off the subtitles and listening without them. This will challenge your understanding and help you become more confident. If you come across a word you don't know, try to guess its meaning from the context. Sometimes, the sentences before and after can give you clues about the word's meaning. If you are still unsure, look it up later. Guessing from context helps develop your listening skills and also builds your vocabulary naturally. Listening to slower English at the beginning can make learning easier. Many apps and websites offer slower versions of stories or podcasts. Start with these to get used to how English sounds, and gradually move on to normal speed content. This way, you will slowly adapt to faster speech without feeling overwhelmed. It's also essential to get used to listening to different accents. English is spoken in many countries, and each country has its own way of pronouncing words. For instance, Australian English sounds different from American English, and British English has its unique accent too. By listening to different accents, you will become more flexible in understanding English no matter how it's spoken. Try finding videos or podcasts from various countries to practice with different accents. Practicing with a language partner is another excellent way to improve your listening skills. Try to find someone who speaks English fluently or who is also learning like you. Having conversations with real people will help you understand natural speech and get used to common expressions. If you don't have a language partner nearby, joining online language groups can give you similar practice opportunities. Using listening apps can also be a useful way to train your ears. There are many apps designed to improve listening skills by offering exercises and quizzes. These apps make listening practice fun and can track your progress over time. You can listen to different levels of content and choose topics that interest you. Sometimes it may feel like people are speaking too fast, and that can be frustrating. Don't worry, it's normal to feel that way at first. Try to focus on the rhythm of their speech rather than every single word. As you listen more, your brain will get used to the pace and pick up words more easily. Listening to music in English is another fun way to practice. Choose songs with clear lyrics and sing along. Singing helps you catch how words flow in sentences and improves your pronunciation too. Plus, music makes learning more enjoyable and less stressful. It's important to be patient and not rush the process. At the start, it's common to feel like you're not understanding much. That's okay. Keep listening every day, and you will notice gradual improvements. Over time, you will feel more comfortable and confident when listening to English. To make listening more interactive, try repeating lines from movies or TV shows. Choose a scene where the characters speak clearly and try to say their lines with the same speed and tone. This will improve your listening accuracy and help you practice speaking naturally. One of the best ways to stay motivated is to choose content you enjoy. Whether it's a comedy show, a podcast about your hobbies, or a story you love, listening to topics that interest you makes learning much more enjoyable. Finally, don't forget that listening is a skill that grows with practice. The more you listen, the better your brain gets at processing sounds and words. Even if you don't understand everything at first, keep going. Each day of listening brings you closer to fluency. In summary, becoming good at listening in English takes time and regular effort. Listen to English daily, repeat what you hear, and use subtitles to help at the start. Mix up your listening content by choosing different types and accents. Practice with language partners, use apps, and listen to songs to make it fun. Be patient with yourself, and remember that progress comes with time and consistency. With dedication and practice, your listening skills will continue to improve, and you will find yourself understanding more and more of what you hear. Keep listening, and your confidence will grow. Chapter 8: How to Improve Your English Speaking Skills. In this chapter, we will focus on developing your ability to speak English well. Speaking is one of the most essential parts of learning the language because it helps you share your thoughts clearly. The more you practice speaking, the more confident you will feel. Here are some practical and simple ways to help you speak English more fluently. One of the best ways to get better at speaking is to practice daily. You don't need to spend a long time speaking. Just a few minutes every day can make a difference. You can talk to yourself, say short sentences, or even repeat phrases you hear in English. As you keep practicing, your speaking skills will naturally improve. It's important not to worry about making mistakes. Mistakes are a normal part of the learning process. Everyone makes them when learning something new, especially a language. Instead of being afraid, focus on learning from your mistakes. Keep talking, even if you make errors, and use them as a chance to improve. The more you speak, the less worried you will feel about making mistakes. Talking with others is another great way to practice. Try finding a language buddy or a friend who speaks English. Speaking with someone else helps you practice real conversations. You can ask them to correct you if you say something wrong, and they can give you helpful tips. If you don't know anyone who speaks English, you can join online groups or use language exchange apps to find speaking partners. It's also helpful to speak about topics you enjoy. Talking about your favorite hobbies or interests makes speaking more enjoyable. If you love cooking, share your favorite recipes. If you like traveling, talk about places you have visited or wish to go. Discussing things you are passionate about will make practicing more fun and help you learn useful vocabulary related to those topics. When practicing, make sure to speak slowly and clearly. Don't rush through your words. Taking your time helps you pronounce each word correctly. As you gain confidence, you can try speaking a little faster, but never force yourself to speed up too quickly. Speaking calmly and clearly is much better than speaking fast and making mistakes. A great technique for improving speaking skills is to repeat what you hear. For instance, if you are watching a video or listening to a podcast, pause it and repeat what the speaker just said. Try to match their pronunciation and tone as closely as possible. This method is called shadowing, and it helps you improve both your listening and speaking abilities at once. It also makes your speech sound more natural. Practicing in front of a mirror can also be helpful. Stand in front of the mirror and speak out loud. Watch how your mouth moves and how your face looks when you talk. This helps you practice speaking without feeling shy and makes you more aware of your pronunciation. Do this every day to build up your confidence. Learning some common phrases and expressions is another useful tip. Knowing everyday phrases makes it easier to talk in real conversations. For example, what time is it? Can I help you? Where are you from? Practice using these simple phrases often, and they will become part of your natural speaking habit. Listening to how native speakers talk is also important. Pay close attention to how they build sentences, change their tone, and express ideas. You can listen to songs, watch movies, or follow podcasts to hear natural conversations. Try to copy the way they speak to make your own English sound more fluent. If you don't know how to say something, don't be shy about asking for help. Whether it's about how to pronounce a word or how to use a phrase correctly, asking questions helps you learn. Most people are happy to explain and support your efforts. Working on your pronunciation is also important. Mispronouncing words can make it hard for others to understand you. Use apps or online tools to practice how words sound. You can also listen to native speakers and try repeating what they say, paying attention to how they pronounce vowels and consonants. Intonation, or the rise and fall of your voice, is another key part of speaking naturally. It gives your speech more emotion and makes it sound lively. For example, when asking a question, your voice should go up at the end. Try to notice these changes in tone when listening to English speakers and practice copying them. To build fluency, practice thinking directly in English. Instead of translating your thoughts from your native language, try forming your ideas in English right away. Start with simple thoughts, like planning your meals or describing your day. As you improve, try thinking about more complex ideas. Thinking in English helps you speak faster and more naturally. Playing speaking games can also be a fun way to practice. You can play games like word association, role-playing scenarios, or use apps that focus on speaking practice. These activities make learning enjoyable and help you get better at speaking without feeling pressured. If you feel nervous about speaking, start with very short sentences. You don't have to say long, complicated sentences from the beginning. Keep it simple, like, I am happy today. This is my friend. Once you are more comfortable, you can gradually increase the length of your sentences. A smart way to track your progress is by recording yourself. Use your phone or computer to make audio recordings while you speak. After recording, listen to it and take note of any mistakes or areas where you can improve. This practice helps you hear how you actually sound and lets you work on making your speech clearer. Above all, remember to be patient with yourself. Learning to speak English well takes time and effort. Don't expect to be perfect right away. Just focus on making small improvements day by day. Practice speaking regularly, and you will see positive changes over time. In summary, becoming good at speaking English is all about practicing consistently and building confidence. Speak a little every day, focus on clear and slow pronunciation, and don't worry about making mistakes. Practice with other people, listen to native speakers, and use apps to help you get better. Record your speech and keep track of your progress. The more you speak, the easier it will become. Keep pushing yourself to practice, and soon you will be able to speak English naturally and confidently. Stay positive and keep moving forward on your language learning journey. Conclusion: learning English is a transformative journey that demands dedication, consistency, and a positive mindset. Throughout the lessons and practical advice outlined in the script, it is clear that fluency does not come overnight. Instead, it is built step by step through consistent practice and the willingness to embrace challenges and mistakes. This conclusion will summarize the essential methods and strategies presented in the content while providing practical examples to apply them effectively. 1. The power of listening and speaking. One of the most emphasized techniques throughout the script is the importance of daily listening and speaking. Listening to English every day helps train your ears to understand the rhythm, pronunciation, and natural flow of the language. Whether it's through songs, podcasts, or videos, exposing yourself to various accents and speaking styles builds comprehension and confidence. For instance, you might start by listening to a podcast for just 5 minutes a day. As you become more comfortable, increase the duration and choose topics that challenge you. After listening, practice shadowing, repeating phrases or sentences exactly as the speaker says them. This method not only improves pronunciation, but also helps with sentence structure and fluency. 2. Speaking without fear. A common obstacle in language learning is the fear of making mistakes. The script encourages learners to speak confidently, even if errors occur. The key is to prioritize communication over perfection. One practical way to overcome fear is to practice speaking to yourself in the mirror. This helps reduce self-consciousness and builds familiarity with expressing thoughts aloud. Another effective approach is to find a language partner, whether in person or online, and engage in regular conversations. Start with simple topics like daily routines or hobbies, then gradually move to more complex subjects. Remember, the goal is not to sound perfect, but to communicate clearly and naturally. 3. Building vocabulary the smart way. Learning new words is crucial, but memorizing long lists without context is ineffective. Instead, focus on acquiring vocabulary through reading and listening. When you encounter new words, Write them down in a journal and use them in sentences immediately. This not only reinforces memory, but also shows how the word functions within a context. Flashcards are another practical tool for vocabulary retention. Use apps or physical cards to review words frequently. Include synonyms and antonyms to expand your understanding. For example, if you learn the word delightful, also learn its opposite, unpleasant, to develop a nuanced vocabulary. 4. Improving reading and writing skills. Reading regularly is a cornerstone of language learning. Begin with simple texts like children's books or short stories. As your skills progress, move on to articles, essays, and novels. Reading aloud is particularly useful as it simultaneously improves pronunciation and fluency. For example, choose a news article and read it aloud, focusing on clear articulation and intonation. Writing daily is equally important. Start with simple sentences about your day or your thoughts. Gradually, challenge yourself to write longer paragraphs or even short essays. Keeping a daily journal is an excellent way to track progress and practice self-expression. 5. Thinking in English. One of the most effective strategies to boost fluency is to think directly in English. Instead of mentally translating from your native language, practice forming thoughts in English. Begin with simple concepts like describing objects around you or planning your day. Over time, your brain will naturally process thoughts in English, reducing hesitation when speaking. 6. Consistency and motivation. Consistency is vital in mastering English. Set small, achievable goals and celebrate your progress. Instead of aiming for perfection, focus on daily practice, whether it's listening, speaking, reading, or writing. Joining language clubs or online communities also provides motivation and opportunities to interact with other learners. 7. Applying the techniques in real life. Applying these methods in real-life situations enhances retention and builds confidence. For example, when shopping, practice speaking with store clerks in English. Watch your favorite movies with English subtitles and repeat catchy lines. Join online forums to discuss topics you're passionate about. Final thoughts. Learning English is not just about mastering grammar and vocabulary, but about embracing a mindset of growth and persistence. Mistakes are part of the journey, and each error brings valuable lessons. Keep practicing, stay curious, and immerse yourself in the language at every opportunity. Your path to fluency is unique and personal. Whether you're practicing alone or with others, remember that each small step counts. Stay consistent, be patient with yourself, and celebrate every achievement, no matter how small. One day, you will look back and realize how far you've come, speaking English with ease and confidence. Keep going and never give up.